Drew, another team that I want to talk about here that's pretty interesting to me is Miami. And the more that I studied Miami, the more that I thought, wow, Dan Lanning and Mario Cristobal are pretty similar just in terms of how they're building this thing. Maybe not the track record so far, but recently, just in terms of what Mario has done in the transfer portal. I mean, you think about that initial year as well, right, Drew? 15 guys via high school, 11 in the portal. The guys that came, Akeem Messidor, Wesley Basaint, Isaiah Horton, Inez Cooper, right? So you're thinking about 4 or 5 starters out of that group that Mario Cristobal was able to land in short order. I just think that initial transition class is so important, right? Like for the foundation of your team over the next 2 to 3 years, you got to be able to come away with a couple multi-year starters. Then you think about the combination of the other guys: Cam McCormick, Matt Lee, who started for him, Kika Malinoa, Javion Cohen, Francis Malinoa, Ruben Bain, Mark Fletcher, Riley Williams, Chris Johnson, Emery Williams. This year, Tyler Barron, Simeon Barrow, Sam Brown, Deani Hill, Damian Martinez, Mish Powell, Cam Ward, Zach Carpenter, Saquon Patterson, Elijah Lofton, Jordan Lyle, Markel Bell, OJ Frederick. The thing that just kind of popped into my head like a light bulb to me is I know you and I have had some conversations with some teams at the tippy top, right? And how they look at high school players. And they don't look at them the same way that you and I do. Our job is to project these guys out to Sunday. Their job is to win on Saturdays. And you look at this combination of guys that are just built, ready to play right out of the gate: Malinoa, Ruben Bain, Mark Fletcher. I mean, you go down the list, Elijah Lofton, right? Saquon Patterson starting to get some run. It's pretty fascinating how you look at an Oregon and you look at a Miami, and you kind of see them starting to form an identity of playing a complementary game between high school and the transfer portal with guys that are just ready to play, and then loading the back end of their class, 2/3 of it, with guys now that have the opportunity to sit. And the money part is important because Miami and Oregon, as far as I understand, you're talking about 2 of the most competitive programs in the country when it comes to NIL. Not only can they go acquire top-end talent, but they can retain it. So it all comes down to, how do you really view player development? And now Miami and Oregon are kind of sitting there in a really, really opportune situation where, you know, the guys that are physically ready to play out of high school, they play them early. They don't have to deal with those guys maybe thinking about entering the transfer portal. And the guys that aren't, well, they're getting compensated. Now they have an opportunity to learn, and they're playing for a winning program as well. It's interesting to me to kind of watch this play out in real life.
It seems like the ideal mix, blend, whatever word you want to use. And I'm interested to see if other people copy it. And the thing about playing all those freshmen you've mentioned, and they rolled Francis Malinoa out there, you can go into these recruitments, these NIL recruitments for these huge players, and you can point to the fact that, hey, we are not afraid to play some true freshmen. And you can point to other programs around the country. I know Georgia plays freshmen and Texas plays some freshmen, but Miami can pitch the fact and it be true that, hey, no, we actually play these blue chip guys. You will get the opportunity to meet. Cooper, just kind of doing a diagnosis of Miami right now and looking ahead to what's next. And obviously Cam Ward has unlocked a ton for the Hurricanes there. He has been a cheat code. He has transformed that offense. Quarterback's my only real question mark kind of moving forward. I mean, you look at the 2 deep, and I know they're going to lose Xavier Restrepo. I know they're going to lose Jacoby George. They got like 4 or 5 senior defensive linemen that are going to be on their way out. But you know they're going to be in the transfer portal for those guys. I believe in the wide receivers on the roster that aren't playing right now. A guy like JoJo Trader, I think he's going to be ready to go in 2025. My question is, Miami has tasted the high life, a game-changing quarterback. And yes, Reese Poffenberger will be in the mix next season. Emery Williams will be in the mix next season. He has started 2 games. But to me, Cooper, it's like you're traveling, right? You go to one of these airport lounges. You experience, the food, the drinks, all that. You fly. And then the next time you go to the airport, right, you don't have that lounge access. It kind of takes away from the experience. Once you taste it, you want it. So does Miami go out there and they look for the best of the best? Because I think that is the one question mark off the hoof, right? When you look at the roster, okay, what is going to be the plan at quarterback in 2025?
I mean, you just never know what the market's going to look like, right? Miami could go from Cam Ward, a potential Heisman Trophy winner, top 10 pick, to the market looking like, and I'm not saying this is like doomsday scenario, to the market looking like Connor Wigman, potentially Jackson Arnold, maybe a Miller Moss, maybe a Jade Maeva to kind of see what it plays out like over the next couple of weeks. That's the hard part. But that being said, Miami's in a super interesting position because they now have the blueprint, right? They can go out there and say, hey, look at what we have done from a roster building standpoint. The only position that really needs to be plug and play is quarterback. And the only team that right now they're kind of competing with that has that same track record, Oregon. You have Dylan Gabriel and Bo Nix, right? It's all laid out there. So if I was Mario, sure, you want to continue to take high developmental upside guys at the quarterback position. But man, they're sitting in a top 3 spot to have the right of first refusal after this year after year. If I'm Mario Cristobal, I got to find a way to keep that going, right? So that's kind of the interesting part about how the dominoes have kind of fallen here for Mario so far.